Yeah,
Yes.
so very good morning to all the audience and delegates in ICRES 2021.
Yes, good morning.
Myself, Dr. Shamik Palit from the United Arab Emirates. And my topic of the presentation is impact of big data technologies in education management. So let me start with the presentation. So as all of us know that big data is one of the emerging technologies in today's world. And as long as education management industries are concerned, there is a vital role of big data. And my work is actually focusing on that how this big data technologies can be beneficial for an effective teaching learning process in the education management sector, including analyzing the performance of any specific student or taking a strategic action for that particular students, which might be beneficial for that particular student to achieve their academic goals. And as we know that if we start exploring the idea of big data technologies, basically two very important vertical here I would like to focus. One is the data mining strategies, and at the same point of time, the data analysis. So let me first focus on what exactly this particular big data technology can contribute for an education management sector. As we know that there are a chunk of heterogeneous data which we can connect from various media, including the social media. So actually, if we make use of an environment where we have emerging big data technology, we can very effectively collect the data from miscellaneous data source and can start analyzing the data. Uh, as mentioned earlier, that students' performance, one of the most critical parameter in the education management sector. Sometimes it is really a tedious job to evaluate or to analyze the performance of a specific student, guiding the student, counseling him or her with respect to his or her performance, and which is really very, very important in school, colleges, as well as in the university, that whenever a student is enrolled from the first year and moving towards the final year, how we can collectively have a performance analysis of that particular student's data. So this is very much important for the career of the students, as well as it is important for the faculty members who is guiding that particular student throughout the academic life cycle. I have divided this particular work into different verticals. So first, let me discuss about the analysis part of this research work. As long as analysis is concerned, these are the two very important vertical, as I already mentioned. One is known as the educational data mining. So here, the data mining strategy is termed as educational data mining. And obviously, we need to have an effective learning analytics technique, because only data mining obviously will not give us the insights of the data, or by what kind of strategic decision we can take based on this particular data. So that's the reason EDM and LA both are really very, very important as long as the data analysis is concerned. And as discussed, the basic aim is to understand the learning pattern of that particular student, which is applicable to any of the course he or she has already enrolled. And here, basically, we make use of emerging trends like the machine learning technique, artificial intelligence technique, to understand different type of heterogeneous data, and to focus basically on any specific learning issues which is faced by that particular student. Let me talk about EDM and LA, which I already told in the last slide. So LA is basically a collection, a strategy, and where we can make use of different analytical technique. And at the end, we are supposed to have a certain report, and based on that, we can analyze the performance of any specific student. So obviously, an efficient, errorless report will always help us as a faculty member to counsel a specific student at a different phase of his academic life cycle. Let us have a look on the workflow, which is really very, very important. The moment we start designing and developing any specific framework in an educational system, so this can be one of the proposed framework that in any specific educational management system, let's first identify the stakeholders, like here, as it is reflected, students, and at the same point of time, the educators, the academicians are also playing a vital role over here. So starting from the e-learning management systems or intelligent web-based educational system, the first and foremost idea is to provide a flawless interactive services to all the students, which includes the course information, at the same point of time, the course materials, and the academic performance of that specific student, his progression, like when the student is moving from one semester to another semester, what exactly was the performance of that particular student. So if we have an enterprise systems made in such a way so that it's not only helpful for us to collect the student data, but at that same point of time, we can analyze the student data, and based on the effective analyze using the EDM and LA technique, ultimately we can counsel that particular student to achieve his career goals, because that is one of the vital activity of any faculty member, other than having a day-to-day teaching learning assignment. It's obvious to counsel the students in a proper manner, so that at the end of the course, the student should fulfill the requirement and can either go for a higher studies or can join in any industry to pursue his or her career. So the performance of the student is one of the main aim of this particular research work. As we know that in educational institute, in any specific universities, schools, so apart from imparting a quality education, it's really very important to have a close communication, a close contact with the students and his parents, as long as his academic performance is concerned. And I strongly believe that my work will surely bring a very good impact in the conventional teaching learning process, which is adopted in various universities across the globe. And as long as the benefit is concerned, obviously, other than that, I would like to mention that during the admission process, even we can counsel a specific students in a much more better way. So if we can analyze large amount of students' data and generate a specific pattern based on that, whenever a fresh students or fresh inquiry is also stepping in the university, so we can also counsel that particular students based on the input parameters they are providing. As long as the methodologies are concerned, so basically I have used two different type of algorithms over here. One is called the ID3, another is C4.5, and both these algorithms are really very, very efficient in generating the decision tree, which is actually the heart of this particular process. So as we know that decision tree based on certain levels of algorithm will always help us to analyze the data and take a strategic decision based on the data has already been collected, and which will always help us as a faculty member to guide the specific student in a proper manner. So these are the two algorithms which I found is really very, very effective. One is the K-means, another is the hierarchical clustering. so which can be used for analyzing that specific data, incorporating the features of machine learning, and which will make the workflow of the enterprise system much more effective. So as long as implementation is concerned, these are the four distinct phases associated with the process. One is obviously the data collection. Data is coming from various heterogeneous sources. At the same point of time, pre-processing the data and applying the data for the data mining process. And ultimately, obviously, we must have a specific result which is explored from that particular data, which seriously help the entire education management system to make a proper decision based on a specific student's performance. So in this case, there is one efficient tool we make use, one called Moodle Predictor, which is having two different modules. One is called the visualization module, which helps us to find out what exactly is the performance of a specific student, and it's also help us to predict the performance based on the previous track record associated with that particular student. So obviously, visualization helps us to figure out the current status of that specific student, and obviously, correct prediction will always help us to guide the students in a proper manner. So hence, in the concluding statement, which I would like to discuss over here, that due to the advancement of the technologies, specifically information technologies, if can be used in a proper way in the education management system, obviously that is going to enhance the quality of the teaching learning process, and at the same point of time, the students' academic life cycle management, which is a backbone of any educational organization. And we always need to focus on the improvement of the same using this particular type of technology. In this context, I would also like to mention there are emerging tools available for doing the data mining, like Vika is one of the very good example, which is used in my work. And using that particular tool, even we can efficiently find out that what is actually the dropout rate in a specific course, and where the students is not able to perform up to a certain standard. And for those students, we can have certain strategic steps to be taken so that they can overcome any specific type of hindrances and can reach their own academic goals. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thanks each and every listeners. Any questions?